just you get to choose. Right? Like here's the scenario. The environment gives us something which can be perceived as negative, can be perceived as not working, can be perceived as problematic. The world's ending. But we get to choose to see it like that, or we get to choose to see it as an opportunity.
So clearly that it's my responsibility now to do that for other people. If I have information and, other people's success is my success and vice versa.
Because you know what? Like, the challenges or the roadblocks are the journey themselves.
There's no big things. It's all little things compounding on top of each other.
Welcome, Coach. How you doing? Just get rolling straight away because you got some beats, you got some rhythm there.
Yeah, I'm just kind of thinking through my thoughts of really asking for what I really want, and I think so often, at least maybe my pattern in the past has been to, I'll ask for this because this seems achievable, or maybe this seems more doable, so I'll ask for this. And I'm getting really used to the idea of asking for what I really want, or setting an intention for something that I really want. Because when I get it, it makes all the difference in the world. Like it sings to me. It makes me sing. And I'm looking forward to adding some context and maybe some real world scenarios to this discussion today. Because I think maybe we've even broached this topic before, but I think it has new meaning to me for some reason.
It might be everything, right? It might be the crux of everything. What is it that you want? I think that is the fundamental question of coaching. Is what does your client want? What do they want? But not you asking them or figuring it out for them, but having them actually ask themselves. And so all for us, like asking, what do we really want? What do we want? That is the ultimate question, right? Because it's seldom about, it's never about the how. Like you always figure out the how. If the why is strong enough, you'll find a way. And so the only question to ask is, what is it that you want? Mm. And it seems like people ask that question, but they don't really. Just today in my advisor accelerator group, my mastermind, we're doing some work around just that. Like, what do you want? Set the vision out. Something we've covered a million times. We'll cover it a million more times because it's the thing that seems to be elusive, even though everyone gets it, but they don't really get it. And so, there's so many observations to share. I had one of the guys in the team, in the group, went through their vision, read it out, shared it with everyone, was super vulnerable about it, and had some good detail in it. As he read it, I asked him what his reflection was on it. He said, it's not much different than it is now. And it was a 3-year vision. Right?
Oh, wow.
And contextually, these are already, of course, Coach, for everyone listening, watching, these are already people that are high achievers, know what it feels like to achieve at a high level. And they're setting out visions where the brief is, do it in the way that you want it. Whatever way you want it, you get to design this for yourself completely. Don't edit. And they spend a lot of time doing it, and it's still the reflection. There's like 2 pages of writing here. Still, reflection is that's not much different than the way things are right now. And there are differences, but it's not. It's evolutionary, not revolutionary. Oh, and so that's not wrong with evolutionary, but we're not talking 3 million years. We're talking 3 years.
Mm-hmm. So is the takeaway that he's not that far off from what he really wants, or was there some pushing involved with you got this already? Like, what do you really want?
Yeah, it's the I'm not thinking big enough. Oh,
got it.
Yeah. This is basically how it is already, kind of with a few tweaks.
Right.
And he's thinking about in the future and talking about driving his kids or going to school, going to work, but then his kids are in college, and he's like even put it on the vision. I'm still driving the same car. I'm driving the same car that I had in 2024 because it's a 2027 vision. Because my kids are this is a. If you wanted to, you can put down, I'm driving one of my 7 Ferraris to work today.
Yeah.
Right. It's a you make it up, choose your own adventure.
Right.
But it does, because you're we get the imagination beaten out of us as adults.
Mm.
It's not. Don't ask for what's achievable. Ask for what you want. You said that already, Coach. Right? Ask. It's like what? Not what do you want? No, what do you really want? No, what do you really want? I keep getting reminded of this, that all change starts from telling the truth
Mm.
to ourselves.
Yeah.
It's not purposeful, not often anyway. It does require that.
Well, you struck a chord with me when you said the imagination gets beaten out of us as adults. Like when we think of kids, like everything's an imagination, right? The imaginary friends, imaginary games, like rules and this and that. We lose that. I don't think we're supposed to lose that, but it's become so normalized that we lose it. And the reason I say I don't think we're supposed to lose it is because when I remember it, when I get back to it, it feels great. It feels like so playful, and I'm having fun with it. And like that's how I know it's good for me.
Yeah. But I think it also comes from, some of the things you learn as you grow are some physical things, like the reason why kids need to have parents for a long time, right? Like, so they don't run out into the road and get run over, right? Because they don't know that. They don't know the dangers, physical dangers.
Mm-hmm.
They also don't know the emotional dangers. Right? You set yourself up for something you really want and you don't get it, it doesn't feel good. And so then we protect ourselves physically by not running into the road, and we also protect ourselves emotionally by not having the dreams that we really want. Because what if we don't get them, and it's like, get hit over the head again, right? But it's re-practicing, re-strengthening, and working on that muscle.
Yeah. Any recommendations for how we get back to that? Is it about the environments that we're in? Is it good to buddy up with somebody and pull somebody else in? Like how somebody watching this who's like, yeah, I got to get back to that. What would you recommend?
Well, you have to be in an environment where there are people that you're seeing that and getting it on a regular basis. Most of the time, most people aren't doing that, right? There's nothing wrong with that, right? But that's just the general expression. That's like the path of least resistance. You've got to actively, intentionally put yourself in a situation, a scenario where you're continuously in a group of people or a situation in a company or a business that are thinking that way, so that you can help them continue to think that way, and that they can help you continue to think that way when you're having a bad day, an off day, because everyone does that. And so that's why what we do is powerful, but it doesn't have to be coaching. It could be in another group. It can be on a community setting as well. But there's different levels of that in terms of commitment, in terms of time, in terms of what's the thing that's most important to you. And it's all a journey, but you have to have multiple things through the day that keep you in the mindset of openness and creativity. But it's the same thing. Like all of these, that ultimately comes back to the question about what do I want, and I have to be able to be open, to be creative, to ask myself the question, what do I want? And then to do that, I need to be in environments which conduct that and not the opposite. So yeah, all of those things you said, right? They're all available, like to be with other people that want that, to be, a part of a team that wants that, and the family that you're aligned with, the community you're aligned with. If you think about the people that you're aligned with, Coach, like who you spend time with, there's going to be some places are going to be more energetically correct towards where you want to go, and then they're going to be like have values where you want to go, or have goals about where you want to go. Some more, some less, and there's going to be a well-rounded version of some of that stuff in multiple places. But certainly, there's always ways to continue to develop that, right? And it's like all those things just help you more and more aligned to who you want to be. And so it's discovering more for yourself so you can get back to building that muscle of imagination and creativity. I mean, everything that we have comes from imagination, right? It never existed before. We imagined it to be true and then made it so.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's like maybe your life is the quality of your life is equal to how great you can think it up to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly what it is.
Hmm.
The story I always tell about when I moved to coaching, right? One of the big keys, quality of life is quality of imagination. Quality of life is quality of relationships. Quality of life is quality of questions you ask yourself as well. So all of those things. But that big question, the difference I was asking was what I'd found. So quality of relationships, what I'd found was people that would have me ask the question, you need to go find yourself. And that itself doesn't make any sense. But I took it to mean you got to go find who you want to be. Like you got to find what fits well for you. Find yourself.
Hmm.
So I couldn't do anything with that. I didn't know what to do. Right. My comparison is a needle in a haystack. Like that's like it's really hard to find a needle in a haystack. But with a needle in a haystack, at least you know that you're looking for a needle. With go and find who you are.
Yeah.
Like, how do I even know if like, oh, you'll find when you know you find like when you know you know. It's like what does that mean?
Yeah.
It just didn't help me. Not to say that it may not help others, but that just didn't really help me because what I found was much more opening was go create. So change find to create. Go create the life that you want and the person you want to be. So that's exactly what you're talking about, Coach. Right? Like if it's the quality of your life is the quality of your imagination, that's the quality of your creations.
Uh, those are two quite different things. I'd like to point that out. Like some people don't get to the imagination stage. So I think what you're saying is it's not just good enough to do that. Like it's not just going to happen. Like once you have what you think you might want, then go after it, go create it, go do it.
Right. And it's not useful talking about, and that's what holds people back for even bothering with imagination because they're like, well, how can I do it anyway?
Yeah.
I can't do it anyway. What's the point?
Right.
So that's where I think they're two very different things, and they should be defined as two different things. And to know that they work in a sequence, it's what is it, and then there's the like, how do I get there, or who can help us get there?
Yeah.
But until you know, like, till you're really clear about what it is that you want, and stop editing yourself, and stop putting barriers up to say I can't get there because I don't know how to. Yeah, that's the
Yep.
Anytime you're asking how questions, you're in your head,
Done.
dead.
Yeah. That power of intention, right? To decide I'm getting this thing, I'm doing this thing. That's like that's the thing that makes it real. Right? So there's creativity, then there's go create it, and then it's the actual deciding part of I'm going to do this thing. And I'm going to do it because what it will bring me or what I will get for it is so in line with what I actually want that I'll do whatever it takes to get it. And that's why the how doesn't matter. Because you'll figure out the how along the way. You'll set out to do something that you think is right how, and you'll get more information along the way with like, oh, you're close, but this, take this path over here, or like, you get that feedback. But I just want to reflect on the intention a little bit. Like I intend to do this. Our intention is, our focus is one of the most powerful tools that we have to say that we're going to do something and then follow through with it. Like that's literally the definition of manifestation. Taking some sort of idea, something that I want, and making it real, something tangible that I can touch and hold and see and taste and hear and all that stuff. So it better, pretty damn well better be what you want if you're going to exert yourself and commit to it, because that means you're not going to do it to something else, right? Other things get left to the side because you're pursuing this thing that you want, or like whatever it is for you.
So if I go back to my client example from today, the observation is that it's probably harder to get that vision that he set out that was similar to what he had already. Because when he thinks about how exciting it will be to get to that point, it's not going to be very exciting. It's going to be basically like it is today. So why do I
Yeah.
need to put any effort in today if
Mm.
tomorrow is going to be the same anyway?
Right.
And that is very scary. you've got to have a compelling tomorrow in order to do something today that's going to make tomorrow different. So it's self-fulfilling. When you were saying that, it made me think about, I don't know who said this or where it come from, but like it's the concept of either freedom or death, one of the two. And I really get that. You might say like it's a nice concept because like freedom's really important. I'm just saying freedom's really important, but I wouldn't really want to die. But the point is that if you can't be free, you can't live a life and expression that actually is fulfilling. And whilst you don't want to die, if you can't get the thing that you want, what's the point of living in the first place? So it's not just one or the other. It's a journey of a commitment to the one thing that you want, knowing that you'll do whatever it takes to get to that thing that you want. Because the alternative is not even trying and settling for something you don't really want anyway. And that's no way to live. So you're guaranteeing your unhappiness if you don't try. You're guaranteeing the thing that you don't want if you don't try. So you might say, well, if I try, then I'm like, I don't get it. I'm dead. I don't want to be dead. It's like, yeah, but if you don't, first of all, you might get it. You might get the thing that you want. But if you don't, you've guaranteed unhappiness. It's locked in. I had a prospect tell me this week. She said, she was talking about leaving a firm that she works with to go out on her own. I don't like it here. It doesn't align with my values. I really know how much impact I can make. I love my clients. She said, I got 3 options. She said, I'm either going to leave immediately, like within the next few months, or I'm going to stick around for 1 or 2 years, or I'm going to stay here forever. So what do you see there, Coach? Right? It's like so intriguing about what she said. Right? So I get like leave immediately, or stay forever. Like, but where does she find this third? Let's see option. Right? All she like it's so funny because what she's doing is saying like, well, I'm just going to kick the can down the road.
Yeah.
Right? I'm just going to. I know it doesn't work, and I don't like it, but I'm just going to see what happens. Like it's not going to change, right? Life doesn't work like that unless all the stars align and like you win the lottery at the same time, and it's like it's not going to happen like that. So it's a better study to say. Either I'm going to leave now based on what I want because I'm all in, or I'm going to say, actually, I'm good with what I have. And so me and you already know that option 3 is not an option anyway. Option 2 is just made up. So the only option is for her to move. All right, it's like it's clear when you do that, and you're rational about it, right? But when you're in it, of course, your emotion is what's driving you. You're like, I know what the answer is. Why am I not doing it? You're still emotionally tied to it, but that's why you add like more evidence, like more weight to that side of the scale until you get the tipping point. Until you hit the threshold where it's like it's not enough. And then oftentimes that threshold is predetermined. Think about when you join Pro Advisor Coach. I think you told this story in here before, but like what you did to join Pro Advisor Coach, you did a lot of work, wrote a lot of things down, threw a lot of things out there, pros and cons. And then, like, in order to make a commitment and buy in, essentially, you had a windfall of money, and you decided that was the meaning that you gave to that was that money was for that thing. You could have also said that money is for something else, or it's not related, or a whole bunch of other different things. Yeah. But you actually decided that was the evidence that you needed. That's the evidence I wanted. And you were looking for evidence. Here's evidence. Now I'm going to go that. Now I've decided that's enough evidence. It means I'm going to do it. But it's just you deciding that that's true. So there's a practical component to that, right? Because it's like, well, the money's there and the money's valuable, but you could have also decided I'm going to find the money no matter what, right? And so I just find it very intriguing to think about, right? Just just being truthful for ourselves about like either you're going to be free or you're going to die. Like I got to go all the way into everything because the alternative doesn't bear thinking about. That you live a life when you're on your deathbed and you're like, I wish I didn't waste the last 30 years
Mm.
just doing the thing that I just wasn't quite happy with. It was okay. It was okay. It was all right. Everything was fine. But I wasn't doing the thing that I really wanted to do or saying the things I really wanted to say. When I was recently at a conference and I was down in Orlando, like I had a really weird sleep and I just kept like thinking that's like I'm nearing the end of my life. Like I feel like I haven't got like much time left. I didn't feel like I was sick or anything. I just felt like there was, I, I guess in the time of my life and the reflection with my young kids and my parents getting older, and that place where you can see both sides of it really clearly. I'm more and more attuned and aware and alert to age and time on this planet. And like, I could be less than halfway through my life. And I could be like 75% through it. And I know that's true for everyone to say oftentimes, like most of the time, but like it changes in percentages, of course, but like, it's just being aware of it. I think it's just useful, right? To wake up thinking, shit, how much time I've got left. It just allows you to keep some more urgency, I think, around, am I really spending my time in the way I really want to spend it? And to go tie up all back to your original question is like, what are tips and tricks for this? Like, what do you do? How do you put this into action? Well, it's keeping it in your mind, because you're not going to see this on the news. You're not going to see it. Well, you might see it on social media, aren't they? You're not going to see it in most places where like you're being reminded from people that really care about you personally that like, are you doing the thing that you really want to be doing here? Or are you just dancing around the outside of it? Like, what are you tolerating here that you don't really want? Or what are you tolerating? That's the word. And like, what could it be like if you were to go down the road that you want? And you don't want the opposite. You don't want death, but like, what if you could get freedom? Wouldn't it all be worth it? Because like the in between piece is what's the most risky part. Scary stuff, man.
Yeah. Well, very well said. Scary, or also exciting to give yourself permission that it doesn't have to be that way anymore. I think that's the power of coaching, right? So that might be an answer too. Get a coach. What we do is we create the space, right, for these conversations to happen, for you to be able to dream, to really nail down what it is that you want. And once you get a taste of that and you make it a little bit more consistent, like what you said, like keep it in your head, then there's no going back. Like you don't settle for anything less than that. You can't go back because you've tasted this other way of living that's far superior than doing it any way else. So yeah, keep it front and center for you. Find a way to do that.
The best way to have the biggest impact in life is just to be you, but you completely. And that way, then, like, because no one else can hit your dreams and goals. Only you can, because no one else is going to go after them for you because they're too busy doing theirs, or they should be. Except, most people are not because they're too distracted. But for the people that are committed, most of those other people are doing things to help them get to their goals. And you kind of suck people towards your outcomes and hopefully create some inspiration as well, and more opportunity for others.
Yeah.
And that is it.
That's a great point. And just you living it out, even if you don't share it explicitly with people, gives them permission to, A, to help you out with what you're trying to accomplish, but also B, to like practice that themselves. Mm-hmm. All right. What is it? A rising tide lifts all boats.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, let's leave everyone with this then. Is the question is at the start, very simply, but question simple. The depth of it is more to uncover still is what do you want? All right. And then you can break that down to what area of your life is the place right now where you are least fulfilled. Start there because you'll find the easiest upside. And then you can go the other way and ask yourself the questions, but there's plenty of ways to do that. But ultimately the question is always, what do I really want here? What do I really want here? And there's layers deep from the answers that you'll get from yourself.
Love it. My takeaway, my shout out will be to a very important figure in American history, Nathan Hale, the famous quote, "Give me liberty or give me death." Give me liberty or give me death. Pretty sure that's what he was talking about, what you're talking about.
That's exactly it.
Yep. Thanks, Coach. See you next time.
Thank you for watching another episode of Truth Seekers. We appreciate your interaction. So please comment, like, subscribe to YouTube, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you want more, check out some of our links. Links to our masterclass, The Achiever's Mindset, and come join our LinkedIn group. And what do you want to see more of? Remember, we're here to share the simple secrets of successful. So help us do that. What do you want to see? What do you want to see more of? Thanks, and see you again next time.